What's up, tribe? Peace, peace, peace. What's going on, everybody? It's been a few days, so y'all know it's time for me to check in with y'all. What's good, people? How y'all doing tonight? How many people we actually got chilling at home tonight to actually hop on the live? How's everybody doing? I'm gonna give y'all a minute to kind of hop in, but we just gonna build a little bit on knowledge of self. We're gonna talk about knowledge of self a little bit, just a little bit. We're not gonna dive into it too heavy, but let's build a little bit tonight. On this Friday night, who we got, actually sitting in. I've thought about a shadow workbook. I have absolutely thought about that. Best believe that is highly, highly up on my list of things that I plan to do. I'm so glad that you said that. Yes. Yes, it's not me, sweetie. I don't send any messages. I only have this one page. There's no other page. I would not repeatedly say I don't DM to get on a different page and DM you. So it's a scammer. It's never me. It's never me. And as soon as people follow me, they always have this problem. So I'm still dealing with that with Instagram, trying to get verified and everything. So hopefully we'll get that taken care of over the course of this next month. But it's not me. I do not do that. Anybody that want to work with me, you got to go to my link. I'm honestly entirely too caught up to inbox every single person that starts to follow me. So I don't know who these people are. I wonder if Instagram be sending these bots, but it's not me. I don't do that. Yeah, that's not me. And if you look like the cash app they send, it's like it's not me. None of that. None of that. So, we just at this point we gotta know what the deal is and we just gotta move on. We can't keep even feeding into it. So I always put my disclaimers. So, I do my part to make sure the people that are seeking, my content so they don't get fooled, but it's up to them to do their part to discern and, take a look at that account and notice the followers aren't the same, knowing I repeatedly have stated I do not have any other pages. They're lying. They're just trying to capitalize off of people, really vibing with my content. So it's never me doing that, so but anyway, how have you all been? I hope you guys are having a good week. We're going into the weekend. I hope you guys are, got some good things planned. So how are we doing this week? I got a few announcements. Everybody that's in the course, if you purchase the numerology course, there's an update. There's an update as of right now. The second section is now open. So you can go in the second section now. And also, if you purchase either course, the numerology or the astrology course, you now have access to both of them. So if you purchase any one of them, if you purchase numerology, if you look in your back office in the library, you'll see the astrology course also. So I'm kind of switching it up a little bit in how I'm doing things. But I talked to y'all about working on my content for my platform anyway, because we're trying to get away from the scammers. And so we can build a community for people who genuinely do want to learn these things. So I've been working on the Know Thyself membership. Okay, so with that, that's everything. All of my content is just going to go in one place. So that way that whatever you want to learn, all those topic matters are going to be there. So we're going to do a lot of shadow work. We're going to look into astrology. We're going to look into numerology. We're going to look into metaphysics. We're going to look into third eye work. We're going to look into mental magic. We're going to look into alchemy. We're going to look into everything pretty much occult based. We're going to look into that. So if you follow me here, if you follow me on YouTube, you'll always get a gif of what the information entails. It's not that I'm going to withhold it from these other platforms, but in full, like hour long, like 4 hour long lectures, we got to have our own space for that. So that's what that is for, because some people genuinely really, 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 really want to learn these things. They really want to understand magic. They really want to understand alchemy. They want to know what to do. So, we're all moving at different paces. So that's for people who really, really want to walk that path. They're serious about it. You need the contents, the resources, the materials. You want a community that's built around it to support you. That's what that's for. So we're going to have private lives. from time to time, where we're going to discuss these things, where we're going to share our own spiritual experiences and our own spiritual information and spiritual knowledge. Because what you know, when you tap into this, when you really get tapped into it, the real magic is just your own mind. It's really just your own means of, bringing about internal and external change. So that's all it really is. And I just want to make it super, super simple. It's so much propaganda out there. It is so much, just what's the word I'm looking for? It's just, a lot of it is upside down because we're purposely steered away from our ancient knowledge. A lot of that has been hidden away in what we call the occult. And the occult is so broad, they can be, mounds and mounds of things. And so what they've also done is it's about mentality. It's about being accountable. It's about taking control over your life. It's about, you governing self, you learning how to govern self. And that's controlling your thoughts, controlling your own emotions. Because if you allow your thoughts to run rampant, then that's your thoughts controlling you. You have no control over yourself. So there's means and methodologies, there's steps, there's rituals, there's different approaches for that. So, but when we're talking on such a broad platform like this, and you don't know how many people, who is genuine, or who may just be trying to cause, friction or what have you. So for that sake, that's for our purposes, but it's ultimately all about the knowledge of self. It's all about getting deeper connection with self. How do you control your thoughts? Well, I mean, your mind is like a receiver, so you're always going to receive thoughts. Sometimes you'll have thoughts that's not yours. The key is to understand that about thoughts and knowing that you don't have to identify with those thoughts and knowing how to bring yourself back to your center, which is typically the means or the purpose behind meditation. So the same way, you work out to build your muscles up for your sport is the same way you want to build your mind up in the same sense. It's like on Inception. Remember they tried to infiltrate dude's mind and they said he had been mentally trained, so he had natural defenses. So when you build your spiritual practices, when you deal with your knowledge of self, that's building up your psychic defenses naturally. So naturally, when people try to infiltrate your mind, because you can feel it. I don't know about y'all, but I can feel it. I can feel when somebody is literally trying to make me think a certain way, to pull my thoughts a certain way. And it being in a place of being able to recognize that allows you to not react, but to respond accordingly, responsibility. So you want to respond. So, when you understand your power, you understand what they're truly after anyway, you kind of keep that in mind, you kind of keep that in your forethought, because as long as they're able to sway us, because thoughts controls your emotions, thoughts leads to emotions. So we constantly having thoughts. Let's say we're constantly having repeated thoughts of self-doubt. You're naturally going to have feelings of inertia. You're not going to be able to move because you're doubting yourself. You have a sense of doubt. You don't believe in your ability to get this done. So you're questioning yourself. You're doubting yourself, but it stems from those thoughts. But what we have to know is that thought pattern usually stems from something that we learned out of our childhood, usually stems from some limiting belief that we've adapted to survive in our environment, because we have caregivers, we have people that have to take care of us. So we have to come, when we're young, when we're children, we do things in a manner that we don't understand completely as adults. And so those beliefs that we took in at that time continue to grow and they continue to fester and they inhibit us as we get older. So these are things we have to let go of. Now, there are certain spiritual practices that teaches you the art of letting go, knowing how to let go. Some people are more prone to being able to let things go than other people. Those people may have lessons around actually holding on to things more. They may be less emotional. So more of their lessons may reside in learning through emotion, and vice versa, and vice versa. So that's why I took the approach on the astrology. See, and I know people are feeling either like in extremes about the astrology, because people either really take to it or they really, really dislike it. So for me, being a person that studied a lot of spirituality, a lot of metaphysics, a lot of occult, I understand and I know a lot of your religions, most all your religions is rooted in your astrology. So subconsciously, we already know astrology. Subconsciously, we already identify the archetypes. We just don't see it as energy. So I use this as a means, as a gateway to explain energy. Because if we can take our whole frame of perception to understand energy, that changes the game. That immediately puts you like an alchemist because you understand the energy sense. You know what I'm saying? You looking at it not so literal. So when we talking about all the zodiac signs, they're nothing but archetypes, right? They're nothing but archetypes. They just make up the 12 different, the 12 houses makes up your whole psyche. So it's just a means of being able to pierce into how you are more cosmically aligned to react and respond based upon the energy that you are most subtly impacted by. That's all it really is. So whether we're looking at numbers, whether we're looking at human design, whether we are looking at playing cards, whether we're looking at tarot cards, they're all the same. They all giving you the same archetypes. That's why you can look at all the tarot and it's all of the zodiac signs and it's also all of the planets because they still describing the same type of energy to you. When you look into alchemy, the symbols and everything representing alchemy correlate with the planets, right? So all these things are just related, man. They just interrelated. So if you can take astrology and not make it a crutch, not be dogmatic about it, right? Not like generalize like, well, oh, I can't do that because I'm a Virgo. That's a lie. That's not true. You know and you understand what you are so that you can know what you have to encompass to bring balance to your life. Because you can't just be all of one way. You see what I'm saying? This is a reality. This is duality in this world we live in. So because it's duality, you got two extremes of the same pole. Is literally all that it is. So sometimes you're gonna experience this side, and sometimes you're gonna experience it from the other side. It's just part of the experience. So, like I said, whether it's astrology or whether it's numerology, it's a means of understanding energy. It's a means of describing energy. Because if you can understand energy and how it's working in your life, that's literally enough of an existential proof for you to be able to see how you can bring your own change in your life, to see how you are able to be your own alchemist. Like a lot of people talk about sovereignty and stuff like that, but a part of sovereignty is being able to reign over yourself, to govern yourself. So if you don't understand that, then you govern by the gods. So that means when people do stuff, they don't know what happened, they don't know what came over them, they don't understand why they reacted like that. Because you're not a master of self. So not being a master of self, these things can take you over, can use you to carry out the force of that energy, because you're not in a position that you govern the energy yourself. You don't know how to use the energy yourself. So until you know how to do that, they are going to govern you for you. That's why it can feel like you don't know how to get to everything feels like it's destined to happen this way or it's fated to happen this way. But you got to take it into your own hands because you have to understand the language. Because until you can get or understand the energy, till you can understand that Saturn, all this you calling all this bad luck in your life, maybe that's just your Saturn. That may be Saturn trying to teach you responsibility and keep saying to you, look, until you understand that this is how this go, I'm not going to grant you this. So it's representing the authority. It's just like a lot of us are parents. We could tell our child, look, I'm not giving you ice cream until you do your homework. That's just a means of being an authority and understanding what's best for you and prolonging like what you want right now in order to get what you want later. So it means of self-discipline. You see what I'm saying? So these things are just deeper ways of us understanding ourselves. Is literally your map to your true self. So when we talk about shadow work, we want to bring light to that shadow. Now, the shadow is always made to seem like it's a bad thing, but it's not necessarily true. Your shadow is your true self. See, myths and the way culture, the way propaganda presents it to you, they present subconsciously as your shadow you, your true you, as a bad thing, as a monster, the monster soul. So it's like Peter Pan. You remember Peter Pan? How he would chase his shadow? Is very Peter Pan is very, very deep. Because for one, they call him Pan. Because we talking about Pan. We talking about Pan, goat god. So we talk about Peter Pan being a young boy wanted to leave Neverland and keeping the boys there so they could stay in their youth, so they could stay in touch with their imagination, with their magic, with their true self. Because once you grow up, you lose that part of you. You lose your inner child. So he was chasing his shadow. And in chasing his shadow, that's how he found Wendy. Wendy represented the mothering, maternal, feminine energy, which is your soul. So it led him to what he was truly yearning, what he was truly seeking. Like, I know it's all in how you understand how to interpret the occult. It's all in how you know how to interpret it. See, our lens, the way we see these things is through Christianity. It doesn't matter if you're not in the church. You still only know it from Christianity. You only know dark energy from Christianity. So even when people leave the church and they get into something else, there are certain things they're not going to deal with because it's still perceived through the Christian church. So it did its job. You get what I mean? A lot of it is propaganda because we're talking about history. We got to go back and look at the Pope. You have to understand the doctrines of discovery. You have to understand the dismissal of everybody indigenous, all type of indigenous, anything foreign outside of white Christianity was done away with and demonized and made bad. Even though everything in Christianity is based off of a lot of this bad that they tell you, but it's only because, they don't, of course you don't know, and of course they're not going to tell you because it's gonna change the way you look at everything. You're gonna look at everything totally different. They give us clues. They literally said the devil is a lie. We take that like the words or what the devil is saying is a lie, but we don't get the whole concept of the devil in itself is a lie. What they fed you as the devil is a lie. If you God, that means you the devil too. Don't get it twisted and take what you like and want to throw away what you don't like because it's uncomfortable. Because your growth is in the uncomfortable. Is when you get uncomfortable, that's how you grow. So it's nothing but polarities. So you're capable of either or. You can do some godly things or you can do some devilish things. It's really depending on where you stand and the choice that you make. But it boils down to your choice. You have the choice. The choice is really, truly yours. So this is always shown to us. Don't ever get it twisted. Anytime you look at a story, understand every aspect of the story is a part of you. That includes the villain. Okay? So when we talk about the dark side, the part of us that we don't nurture, that we just push off to the side, take for example, if you're a man, right? Let's say a man as a young age, he was a boy, something happened to him. Let's say he was a real sensitive child, cried. Let's say his daddy told him, look, boys don't cry. You suck that shit up and you don't cry, you don't cry. That boy could have took that and internalized that all throughout his childhood and made it in a sense. So now his sensitive self is pushed in the shadows because boys don't cry. So I gotta be tough. Boys don't cry. Boys don't cry. So when you push that in the shadows, so now you don't nurture that part. So now that sensitive, that emotional nature is not being nurtured. It's just now being pushed off. It's like the villain in the story. So Killmonger. Killmonger was the villain because they left him. They didn't nurture him. They basically cast him out of the hole all for something that wasn't his doing. It created the monster, like T'Challa told him, y'all made him this way. So the child will burn the one that you leave out and neglect is the one that's going to burn the village down. That's an African proverb. That's how you create the villain. That's how you mold the shadow. So now, anytime that man has to deal with something emotional, something strongly emotional, he can't deal with those situations. Whether he don't know how to deal with it and he can't express his emotions, so his loved ones don't know that he love them, so he come off cold and it's his relationship suffer, or maybe he might turn to alcohol, you know, and then every time he gets the alcohol in the system, then there comes that shadow that comes out, and we see this dark emotional, this big emotional nature. But it's all because of the imbalance. You didn't nurture that part because somewhere in your youth you adapted this idea that this was bad and not acceptable. So you only catered to the things that you felt was acceptable, even though it only happened in that moment, even though there may be more context to these events that occur. We're young. Remember, you have a young mind when these things happen. So unless we do the work to deal with that thought, that limit that's been placed on us from that event, then it's going to continue to fester. It's going to continue to grow into something else. That's how we have demons. So understand, we use the trick in the language. The trick is in the language, because even down to saying demons and devils, all of these things spark a initial means of how you interpret these words and how you feel about these words and the connotation insinuated behind these words. So you have to reprogram yourself behind these words, because if not, you're gonna continue to be uncomfortable and you're not gonna know how to go into that darkness, and that shit is gonna scare you, and people gonna not do the shadow work because that's how it is, because you're literally facing your demons, as quote unquote, so to speak. But understand that your demons are not a bad thing. Your demons is just your chaos energy. But it's only really truly chaotic, and you're not able to control it that way because you hide it away. Just think about it. They show us all the time, when you hide something away like that, that's how it's going to grow. And then it's going to become something even bigger that you can't deal with when it comes out. That's how you get people with them blackout personalities. They become a whole totally different person when they black out. Because the mind is an amazing thing. It's a powerful thing. And your mind has a means. It's about survival. It's about you making it. So your mind is going to do what it has to do in order for you to survive. But understand, that's why you need the knowledge of self. You have to go back, because there's so many things you have to unlearn, because you've been taught self-hate. You've been taught it through your language. You've been taught it through your traditions. Everything that you've been taught is to program you to go against yourself. But your true daemon, the daemon that they're saying, is your genius self. That's your true nature. That's the inner genius. You ever notice on these movies where they say people be possessed, how they know things that don't nobody else know? And they be wondering, how the hell do they know that? Because they trying to show you, they making it bad. They have to make it exponentially bad so that you will go away from it, because that's what's in the dark energy, because it's just talking about the collective unconscious. If we collect in the collective unconscious, you can know anything in the collective unconscious. Now that's a means of understanding how your mind and your frequency can connect. They kind of showed you on Soul. Remember on Soul, when they went to the certain part and people was doing certain things, and you could pull down the creation, you could pull down what they was doing. It's all in the means of frequency. It's all about understanding frequency. You see what I'm saying? So when we talk about that, it's just like with the whole Lucifer being the light bearer. It's referring to your third eye, because when you open your third eye, that's bringing light to the darkness. All this is darkness inside of you. So you are the light within inside of yourself. You spark that light. You are the fire. You are the light. That's why you have to go into the darkness. You have to go into and face yourself. You have to face your demons. You have to understand why you are triggered by certain things. You have to understand why you have the certain patterns that you do. You have to understand these things, because if you don't, then when you understand, become aware, that's how you grow. That's the only way for you to grow. If not, you're going in circles. You're literally going in circles. You're just circling around the issue. But everything they told us is dark, they just flipped it and just gave it to us in a means so we be afraid. Just like sorcery. Sorcery means to encircle. So because you got to think about it, like what's housed within you, your soul, is like an atomic bomb. The shoot is it's a nuclear reactor inside of you. You see what I'm saying? It's an enormous amount of power that is within you. Everything they taught me, remember, you're speaking from a personal perspective. Well, I would say in general, because we're institutionalized. You see, we're indoctrinated. We don't even question It's some things we don't question. And when people question them, you are outright seen as crazy, discarded, you are discredited, all these type of things. There's some things they don't allow you to question in this society. And you can literally just ask a question, as in, you know, that not enough information is given, and you're vilified for it. And you're vilified for it. Six protons, six neutrons, six electrons. Absolutely. It just breaks down, it boils down to carbon. We carbon based beings. So your melanin concentrated, like when we saying, like when people are talking about melanin, right? When people are talking about melanin, that's what is satanic. It's melanin. Please understand, like this whole thing is to really trip you up. It's to really trip you up. And I always kind of get in a maze of, I don't know how to deliver this information to people, because 90% of people are going to be afraid of it. You feel me? 90% of people don't know how to receive it. So it took me a really long time to be really, comfortable with it, to really, really be comfortable with it, you know? How was my birthday? My birthday was good. I got some rest, man. I'm a workaholic, right? So I'm always working. Everything is always about work for me. So I actually like rested and relaxed and actually did some enjoyable things. So it was an enjoyable day. It was an enjoyable day. Let's see. But yeah, but there's a lot of that occult information. That's what I'm gonna be building on. That's what I'm gonna be talking about a lot of, providing a lot of sources, a lot of places that you can look, and find this information yourself. Because a lot of this, you have to make the connections yourself. So when people tell you, it's some people say it because they just want to be dismissive. When they say you got to do your research, you kind of do. It's a big part of you. Kind of do have to do. You have to do your own research, because you have to make the connections yourself. Like the light has to turn on for you. So it's not always people wanting to be funny, but that's something that you have to do for yourself. Like you have to make those connections for yourself. Like you have to connect it. It does you. And I say this, a lot of people is not gonna tell you this who have a platform. They're not gonna tell you this. You know why? Because it's a lot easier to have people constantly coming to you for knowledge and information, because they're gonna need you. But I'm gonna be real with y'all. It's really best for you to know yourself, because this shit gonna activate your DNA, and your DNA is your DNA. Your bloodline is your bloodline. Don't nobody know what's in your bloodline. You don't know what can be active, what can activate for you. You don't know. You might look at some Norse mythology and the shit might change your mind forever. You really don't know. So you have to be open, and you have to, you gotta kind of connect them dots yourself. What's up, Mr. Score Booster? I appreciate you, y'all. This is who I was working with the whole credit thing. So if y'all got anything as far as credit, y'all gotta follow him, yo. Y'all gotta follow Mr. Score Booster. I got a link in my bio that'll take you to some information on cleaning your credit. So if you want to check that out, you can check that out. But everything that I do anyway is in my link. So you can check my books out in the link. If you want to get a one-on-one session with me, you get that in the link. If you want to get the energy report, which is the science behind your name, the breakdown of your name, I send it to you in a PDF file. You can do that with the link. The courses are in my link. Now, I just launched the membership site. So with the membership site, that's going to have all the information on it that I spoke on. So everything that I'm teaching is going to go on that membership site. So if you're trying to learn about the occult, you're really trying to learn, it's the Know Thyself Universe membership. For a phone call, explain your wife passed. Well, our loved ones are always with us. Even when they pass away, our loved ones are with us. So we take them with us. They are always with us. And especially if you have the ability to stop, to listen, to see the signs, they're always speaking to us too. So That absolutely could happen. You could absolutely hear your wife speak to you through a phone call. You can hear, you may be in your house sometimes or your home, and you might hear them call your name, and it sounds so familiar. It just sounds like they called you, but it is, they're there because we're here where we are, and they are here with us too. But the spirit realm is just not in the physical. So it's like a different frequency, a different vibration, but they are here with us, and you can always carry them with you. Hey, baby. Okay. Hold on, y'all. My kid tripped me out. Okay, y'all wait for me. Okay. Okay. What Maya? She sleep? She sleep? Oh my God, Mari. Oh. Oh man. Um. But anyway, but you never really know. I don't even remember what I was talking about, man. But our loved ones are always with us, absolutely. Um, you know, me and the PRC noticed I share the same birthday and characteristics, but different era. I wouldn't be surprised. I studied a lot of Manny P. Hall. And see, I don't like the fact in our community, man, they be trying to make us feel a ways for looking into occult or looking into certain, European people who wrote about occult. But y'all got to understand that nobody else has really wrote about it. It's not a lot of us that wrote about these things. You feel me? And when you really get to, when you really get into your occult, the deeper you really get into it, you really understand how much of a game race has been to us and the way they really been playing us with race. Now, that's not to dismiss the way that the supremacy in the system, we all know how they go. But we also understand the power of our mind, the power of our thoughts. So some things we don't always have to feed and we don't have to give our energy because there's enough things in the world that give it our energy. But I read a lot of Manly P. Hall, man. I read a lot of Manly P. Hall, Rudolph Steiner, because in that period in time, they were the only ones who had the information. They were the only ones who really wrote about it. You know what I'm saying? So, and if you know how to discern and you have a third eye, you can read between the lines and you know how to see what's really being said. That's really the key too. That's really the key. But I notice a lot of people be discriminating on information. So I'm not really one of those type of people, but hey. Yeah, that's the thing about knowing thyself, because only through yourself can you find your truth, and your truth creates your reality, and every reality has its own sets of rules and fundamentals. Absolutely. Absolutely. You spot on. You spot on. You spot on. Absolutely. So sometimes, and I tell people, and they don't like it when I do sessions with people. Sometimes I'll be like, "That's something I can't tell you. That's something I don't have the answer for you for." And I know they want the answer, but I can't give it to them. I can't give it to them. That's for you to find. That's for you to find. That's for you to find. So, that's how it goes sometimes. Sometimes, man, y'all have to understand when people be reading, like sometimes y'all have energies around y'all and about y'all that is not always as open. So, I can always kind of tell when people are kind of skeptical. It's all in the seeker. It's all in what you are really seeking. Because man, whatever you seek is exactly what you are going to find, man. That's true on all levels. No, seek and you gonna find it. I'm telling you, you're gonna find what you're looking for. You definitely gonna find what you're looking for. So, but I found this best to just have a means of getting all this out for me, for myself. So that's something that's really helping me with, is to get all of this out in a manner, because I'm not used to just talking about this like this. Like right now, I'm just talking to y'all. I don't know. I didn't come to talk to y'all with like a planned out, talk or lecture or whatever the case may be. I didn't really do that. I just wanted to come and just kind of build with y'all and connect authentically for a moment. We have been broken in our knowledge and power since our ancestors were shipped to America. I can feel that. I can feel that. We're broken it. We're broken into pieces. It's kind of part of what we've always known was gonna be the case of coming here. You know, like old prophecy. We always knew we was gonna fall asleep. We the ancient ones. You the chaos beings. Yo, like it's like how do you bind? How do you bind a god? Y'all seen Pirates of the Caribbean? Y'all seen Pirates of the Caribbean, right? Or Pirates of the Caribbean? And remember the goddess, how they had her bound in a body? Yo, they got you bound in a body. You're bound. You don't know. You just don't know. I'm telling you, all these mythical stories, but it's we fell asleep. We fell asleep. I can't really see all these comments. I do agree we were already in America. I think we are global people. I see it different. I think everything they give us is kind of, they give us pieces. I don't think the earth was structured the way it's structured now. I think it was a different earth. You feel me? Like, because when you look, a lot of these old, and I think that's why I vibe with some of these occults. They the only ones that talk about Atlantis, Lemuria, the land of Mu. You know, you really find those type of things in the occult stuff. So everything that is not in the history, right? It's not in that part. It's in the hidden part. It's in the hidden part. But I think the earth was, the land mass itself was totally different than it is today. I don't think it was made up the way it is. I think the land masses were, some were more together than others. And I think certain things kind of happen and happen on the planet. We can't really say for sure. Maybe cataclysms, maybe it's very, very hard to say. It's very, very hard to say. I don't know what your question is, Bag Chasing Jay. It's what was your question? How do you, let me see, Womb of Roses, how do you bind a God? You put it in the body. Put it in the body. You put it in the body. It's the only way you put it in the body. So the chaos being in us fell asleep. That's the monster that they don't want to rise up. It's the soul, the monstrous soul. So every time you see some evil looking thing, yo, alien, predator, all that, it's your soul. It's to turn you against your soul. I'm telling y'all some for real now. I might sound crazy, but this is like occult knowledge, man. Ain't nobody worshiping no devils or no demons. It don't work like that. Those are words and terminology things that came out of Christianity. That's not what it is. It's not like that. But we are so deeply embedded because we fear hell so bad. We fear hell so bad. So we don't know. Something about being abducted by aliens. I don't know, man. I can't say that that's true or not true for you. If that's your experience, that may be something that you very well experience. I don't know. I can't really relate to it. I absolutely believe that there are alien life forms or interdimensional beings, however you choose to relay it. So, I mean, I can't validate your experience for you. You feel me? I can't validate it for you. But whatever is real for you is real for you, and it's real for you for a reason, you know? But there's been stories about alien abduction, especially when you go back and look in the 60s and 70s. It's a lot less, it's not as prominently talked about now, but if you really go back, it's a lot in that, man. It really, a lot of it makes a lot of sense. A lot of it makes a lot of sense. Even when you look at American Horror Story from last season, when it was talking about the aliens and how they basically made it connected with history, like Eisenhower, like they had an agreement with the aliens, and hey, I'm telling y'all to watch TV. I'm telling y'all to watch TV because everything that they cannot tell you, just blatantly tell you, they tell you in movies and they tell you in TV shows. That's the best way to tell you because they have to tell you. They have to tell you, like, that's just how this works. Like, you, even if you don't believe it, but truth is stranger than fiction. Truth is stranger than fiction. Some say that was the thing with JFK and Marilyn Monroe. Hey, like they say it's conspiracy, man, but hey, how often, like, a lot of conspiracies turn out to be right, and even to say conspiracy theory itself, that word, everything around that word is CIA. That's CIA initiative. Like, they came up with all of that to purposely discredit people, just like they made the occult demonize and all that to purposely discredit a lot of people that dealt in it. Cause see, back older times, most of your most important people, popular people, most knowledgeable people were into a cult. until the church took over. Once the church took over, everything changed. Everything changed. Because it became about controlling you. It became about controlling the people. It became about controlling the public. That's just what it is. That's just the truth of what it is. Recommended movies are higher frequency. Watch Revolver. That's gonna teach you about ego. Watch Revolver. Because you know occultists know, yo, you gotta deal with that ego. Interstellar. Interstellar is one of my favorite movies. That movie is so deep. I'm gonna do a breakdown on. I never done a breakdown on Interstellar, but it's one of my favorite movies. If I'm being honest, Christopher Nolan is a top tier occultist, top tier occult writer, top tier Dark Knight trilogy, top tier. That's alchemy. It's alchemy. It's fucking perfect. Dark Knight trilogy. He did Interstellar. He did Inception. So, the show Westworld, yo, Christopher Nolan is sitting here just thinking about it. Christopher Nolan is deep. Stephen King is deep. Look at it. It is about Saturn. That's like Saturn, yo. Why would Pennywise be eating kids and come around every 27 years? It's literally Saturn. It's literally Chronos. Written in from a myth into a story. See, this shit ain't original. It's not even original. It's not even original. The spook that sat by the door, that's a powerful lesson. A lot of our people who are freedom fighters need to understand that mentality and understand that approach and that strategy. Because a lot of our people are covert in this thing, whether we know it or not. A lot of things that are spiritual, we don't even recognize it as spiritual because we don't know what spirituality is, because we let this society define spirituality. We don't know. We define it through moralism. We really don't understand spirituality. We don't really understand how many tools we really have to heal ourselves. That we create ourselves all the time, but we look down on it. We look down on it because the European society tell us to look down on it. The same way that we define black excellence through European standards. It's the most backwards thing I ever seen in my life. The most backwards thing I ever seen in my life. Aleister Crowley using Enochian magic. I studied Aleister Crowley. See, one thing about Crowley, he's the exact same way. Crowley grew up really, really heavy in the church. He was in a very, very restrictive Christian church, right? So everything that he knows and perceives about the occult comes through Christianity. So he purposely rebelled in the most rebellious way against Christianity. So he called himself the Beast 666 because it's in the Bible specifically. So he specifically want to stick that shit to Christianity because that's what he grew up in. Now, Crowley, a lot of people talk about Crowley, and that's because Crowley was popularized by the Beatles. But Crowley did not, and Crowley is not one of your most prominent occultists out there. He's just one of your more well-known. And that still has to do with the propaganda. So look, understand the 70s, 80s. Think about scary movies, horror movies, all this shit started to come alive at this time, started to really be big at this time. Because you really seen that whole devil worship thing. This is when the New Age started to enter into the U.S. All of this stuff is propaganda. All of it. So, of course, they popularized Aleister Crowley purposely to make it look like there's a rise in Satanism and all of that type of thing. To keep people fear, keep them still within the church for as long as they could. It's all propaganda, man. It's really just all propaganda. It's a lot of questions. I'm trying to see them. The church came in was about the time they came up with the God idea. Well, at least it's when they came up with their God. See, if we understand the science of egregores, if we understand how to create a deity, then we would. It was an episode on Supernatural where they showed how people in this area, based around this myth, this legend, created a whole deity, a whole entity, and we do it all the time, and we do not know it. And that's exactly the magic spell that was placed on us all that long time ago. That's why we we literally can't remember nothing. Y'all don't find it weird. Most people cannot or don't know or can't remember nothing past like the 1800s in their family don't have no knowledge. Y'all don't find that weird. And of course they're going to say it's slavery. But when you go back and really look in history into it, they lying. because slavery is not the way they even describe slavery. My perspective on the inner earth, I think it's another dimension. I think maybe it's a portal, maybe going in the midst of. I absolutely think it's a thing, but that goes into like Atlantis, Lemuria, understanding stuff like that. So, I'm into all of that kind of stuff, man. I'm into all of that. Yeah. But see, the Crowley, but like I said, it's funny with Crowley because when you really get into the occult, you really study occultists. Crowley did not do much. He didn't really do much. He just became the most popular. And so you got to ask yourself, how did he become this popular? But it was his antics, man. It was his antics, yo. They want y'all scared of the devil. They want y'all to turn away from Satanism, but they told you the devil was a lie. They told you that because Satan is nothing but like it's concentrated melanin potential. It's the means of all your power in a concentrated form. That's what Satan represents. It's just a title. When you watch the show Lucifer, if you notice, if you watch them later seasons, when his daddy show up, when God show up, whenever he want that nigga to get serious, he always call him Samael. That's the name behind Satan. Yo, this shit is deep, man. This shit is deep, yo. I love talking about it, but I don't like talking about this shit on these lives. I don't like talking to this just to anybody though, because I understand one, the power in this type of information, and two, I really understand that everything in this whole entire society suppresses this information. So you gonna piss off all the right people when you get to talking like this. And even a lot of people that call themselves conscious won't talk like this. They won't go into it like this. They will not. Yep, Helena Blavatsky. Absolutely. Yep. 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 Yeah, man. They put it out there. They really put that stuff out there in that information. So we gotta remember they the custodians. They just holding it for the real ones to come back and get it anyway. They just was holding it for the real ones. But we can't get tricked up by the propaganda. But that's why it requires you to do the work. Because when you do the work, yo, I'm telling you, when you see this for yourself, it's gonna blow your whole entire mind. You're gonna be like Neo when they showed him the Matrix for real. He was like, it's not real. That's how you're gonna be. You're gonna be just like that because you're gonna be like, I cannot believe this is the lies that's been being fed to me all this time. That's how it is. Yeah, they're gonna cancel my page. That's why I think they got all these impersonator pages, man. It's like 12, 13 pages duplicating me. I feel like they're just trying to discredit me, man. I feel like that's all it is. The most can't go what you get to breaking it down. That's what we know is so far from it. Yep. This guy come. Yep. The membership is where we dropping up where all this info gonna be. And we're gonna get into the books. We're gonna look at the books, we're gonna read the books, we're gonna look at the history, we're gonna look at it all. That's the place for it. So I couldn't allow my ego to get in the way and to want me to just put it out, to want me to just be about just I know this and I know that. So I didn't really want to do it that way and put it outside ourselves and manifest an adversary and divinity to control your personal power. Absolutely. Is to take that power back into yourself and deify it. Yeah. That's exactly it, man. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And see, like I know it's some people right now in the chat, like just trying to be here, just trying to dispel, trying to do the same thing. But I don't pay them people no mind. I don't pay them no mind. I don't pay them no mind, man. Absolutely don't, because I made sure I took enough time to do enough work for myself, so my skin is thick, so I can handle it. I can deal with it. I'm gonna be good either way because I don't really need to validate this from nobody else. Let me put the website up, y'all. So if you click on the site, if it doesn't pull up, just hit your refresh. So let me see. All right. So before, let's see. I appreciate y'all for real, for real. Yep, the light and the power is within us. Our bodies are temples, absolutely. Afraid of the dark, but we are the light. That's the reality, absolutely. So once you get into that darkness, and some people fall through that into it mistakenly, they end up experiencing some extreme hardship, or some serious health issue, something that just really really makes you just turn and just question, just turn and just question. But um when you get into that darkness, that's how you find that light, and you realize the whole time you were the light. The whole time you were it. Any books I recommend for shadow work? Trying to think about books specifically. It's really because shadow work is really just, man, it's facing yourself. See, some people just take that ritualistic approach and they go about it in a meditative way. Some people do it in a in a means of writing. They do a lot of writing prompts. If you notice, you'll see a lot of shadow work journals or workbooks that centered around you writing. I feel like you have to do more than just write prompts. I feel like you genuinely really have to. For some people, maybe that's enough. Maybe it just depends. But some people, depending on your trauma, depending on what you have to work through. But I'm here to tell you that it doesn't look the same for everybody. It's different for everybody. It may take you. Some people need to face their parents, you know what I'm saying, or some faction of their parents. Some people have to. It just really depends on people. What I think about Queen Elizabeth dying, bro. We don't care nothing about Queen Elizabeth, man. We don't care nothing. Hope maybe all the people that done died in her name, maybe that shit finally gonna catch up to her. But we don't care. They say that she's a reptilian. I don't know. I believe if there's technology, if there's a means to transfer uh people's consciousness, then they would have it. I believe it has to be technology for that. It has to be, because that's ancient technology. I feel like there's something they could do in ancient times. Like, we talking about, see, y'all gotta look into Atlantis. Like, look into Atlantis, Lemuria, because this is when they talk about these things, these places, because this is also where your one religion stem from the students. It's like everywhere else on earth was like a colony of these places. So that's why you have things around the earth that can't be explained today. Why you have your pyramids, why you have your Stonehenge, why there are some pyramids in the Americas, because we're talking about an ancient knowing, whether we want to say these were higher dimensional beings, because when you look at ancient Egypt, they show them like they was 15, 20 feet tall, right? So, and what I've learned, when they talk about them in that manner, they're really talking about the dimension that they coming from. So it's like the bigger they are, the higher the dimension that they descend from. So, man, it's just, it's a lot of things, man. And the Anunnaki, it's so many, it's so many different means of looking into it. Yes, the Anunnaki is a part of that as well. So all that is very interesting to me. All that is very interesting to me. But if that technology is available in this time, they have it. They absolutely have it. So they probably have already made that switch, and it's already within the bloodline already. But that's why some people say she been dead. That's just like when the rumor. You remember the rumor came out months ago that was saying that she died, and it was like that's not correct. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know, because they can clone people. All of that, man. Listen. Ain't no way you gonna tell me. Ain't no way you're gonna tell me that. Mm-mm. So another question about the Sandman series. I'm starting this weekend. I'm starting the Sandman series this weekend, man. I'm starting it. Big Cosmic Parliament trial and purgatory going on for Queen Lizzie. There is, absolutely, because she's been reigning for a long time. There's been a lot of death, slavery, enslavement, oppression, colonization, all of those things that happen in her name. So it is what it is. And so also, when you're talking about uh healing, because we're healing different parts of ourselves, like, you know, a lot of people talk about a lot of women do a lot of twerking, right? So, twerking is like a root chakra, a sacral chakra energy. So sometimes, so like when you need to work that energy out, you find yourself being real stiff as women, you should twerk. That's gonna help your root chakra. Say, I know it sounds weird. It don't sound spiritual at all. That's my point. That's really my point. That's really my point. My point is we don't really know what spirituality is. We just look at moralism. We just look at everything still from a religious viewpoint because that's all we know. Any advice for Aries? It's kind of hard to say. I don't really like to, because we're not just our sun sign. If you know your moon sign, what I've noticed is I think we should definitely study the moon sign a lot more than we do. But you do have to know your birth time to have an accurate moon sign. So, but we're not just our sun sign. It's different things. So you may not act like a regular Aries. You may have certain aspects that, afflict your sun to make you, see things different ways or deal with different things. But ultimately, Aries are like, whenever we're dealing with fire, fire are like the children of the zodiac. What I mean by children is like, it's their energy, it's the spirit of a child. Because they say fire signs can live in fantasy. Everything is a myth. Take, for example, okay, so Aries is like the knight in shining armor. So the Aries will fight for any cause. Don't care. It could be don't matter. Let it be an underdog, or let it be somebody or something that's not getting its just due. Aries gonna love to fight for it. So Aries has to remember not to be impulsive. Not to do things in a way, because they're learning patience. So you have to learn patience. Think about a child. That's why I say child. If your fire signs have no patience. So Aries can really lack patience. The thing with Aries is they throw tantrums. So you think about like a kid throwing a tantrum, but as you become an adult, that tantrum ain't like a little kid. You have an adult tantrum and you do things in an adult way to get your way. So like that can be the thing with Aries. We could say a whole lot more, but that's just what's coming to my mind right now about Aries. But it's head first. So when you having a migraine, when you're dealing with migraines as Aries, then you're internalizing your own energy, and it's doing something to you, causing migraines. Okay, so Sag is one of my favorite energy. I study a lot of SAG because I have Saturn in SAG. SAG is the same way, yo. Everything is a myth. Everything is, and with SAG, they really, really big. They really have the grand stage because they're ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is the biggest planet, and it's all about expansion. So everything about SAG is doing it bigger, even if it's something bad. So take for example, right? Jay-Z, the way Jay-Z rap is a perfect SAG energy. Nicki Minaj, perfect SAG energy. Everything is bigger than they say. You listen to Jay-Z rap, everything sound like a damn, like some type of legend or some type of myth, and you wondering, damn, did that shit happen like that? Because that's the SAG's energy. It's big. You feel what I'm saying? SAGs are big and they expand. So they'll say, they're quote unquote is seen as being lucky, but they're the optimist signs, shooting. The SAG is always aiming up. So what we have to understand when we talk about sin, see, SAG rules over religion. So we talk about sin is just missing your mark. You ever heard a pastor say that? You ever heard a preacher say that? Missing your mark is really what sin is? Well, it's funny that the SAG is an archer. So missing your mark is sinning. You feel what I'm saying? Honestly, your only mark is to be yourself. Your only mark is to be happy. So whenever you're not doing that, you sinning, technically, so to speak. So that's something about SAG. I'm just randomly talking about these energies. Oh, so for the site, you might have to refresh it. Like I think I'm gonna have to reset my I'm gonna have to refresh my DNS tonight. But you might have to refresh the page or clear your cache, clear your cookies, and it should work for you. If you still have any issues with it, then let me know. Some form of clones is slaves. That's true. That's true. Now, I wasn't really saying slaves in that sense. You know, I was actually talking about like actual literal clones. But yes, cloning in a sense is really about mentality. It's about mind state. You know, I did a talk one time about memes. I was talking about memes and how they literally affect your mind and they make people want to go out and affect other people with the same concept. And how some religions themselves have grown out of memes and how they are complex memes in themselves. But it's basically to understand mind control and to understand cloning is to get if everybody was saying you have to get the shot in order for such that's cloning. That's a form of cloning. See, that's the only downside to TV. That's the downside sometimes because you have to exaggerate things when you're dealing with drama, when you're dealing with entertainment, because you got to drive your point home, right? So we think cloning is literally if somebody cloned me to make an exact copy, replicated copy of me. That's not necessarily the case because a cloning me could be them taking somebody, taking everything that I talk about, all my ideologies and everything, and feeding it to that individual, and that individual regurgitating it exactly like me. That motherfucker is a clone. That's cloning too. So it's a lot of people that's clones out here. There's a lot of clones that's repeating a lot of things that they hear other people say because other people have gained notoriety or popularity or credibility off those things. So you gotta watch that. That's a need for discernment. That's a need for discernment. So Virgo, I'm a Virgo, y'all. I'm a Virgo. Virgos are typically seen as your perfectionists, but we're really the discriminators. We discriminate bad as hell. We really do discriminate really, really bad, and we never wrong. You can't tell us nothing. But look, I'm gonna tell you. But it's very wise to listen to us though, because we done went over that thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over in our mind 100 gazillion times that we see the flaws and we know exactly how to perfect that thing. So when you dealing with a Virgo that does not go into their hermit phase and they do not self-reflect, you're gonna have a problem with that Virgo. Because we have to do that, okay? We hermits, naturally by nature. We have to get by ourselves because we need to reflect on ourselves. Because the Virgo is the sign of personal development. Virgo is the sign about doing your work. Now we think that shit has to do with how you work every day. That's why people say, well, look in the sixth house and it'll tell you what type of work. No, it's not that type of work. It's the last house before you get up into the upper houses that have to do with how you relate to the world and how you relate to everybody else. That Virgo sign is about perfecting your nature. It is the last step before you gonna go up into the higher levels. So you need to deal with your personality. You need to fix your personality. See, a lot of us Virgos can get stuck and caught up on trying to fix somebody else, but we really supposed to be fixing ourselves because we the masters of self-development, personal development. We are the masters of self-help. If some shit will help us, we gonna learn it. We will learn anything that will help us. It don't matter if that's why you can see a lot of Virgos dealing in astrology, but you won't see a lot of as many Capricorns, you know, because they say the earth signs they say that the earth signs deal with reality, right? But see, you gotta understand a Virgo like systems. If some shit work, oh, we gonna use it if it work. That's what a Virgo do. So if we can use it, we gonna get it. We gonna have it. But like I say, we discriminate a lot, and that's because we always judging ourselves because we have these high ass standards that ain't nobody gonna meet, not even us. So we beating ourselves up because we can't meet these unreachable standards. When all we have to do just bring them motherfuckers down some. So you gotta incorporate more of that Piscean, that opposing nature. Whatever is that opposite sign, you gotta incorporate more of that sign to bring your balance so your ego don't overtake you. Because see, the reason why they give us the sun sign is because we're more, according to them, and because we're in the West, we're more accustomed to tune into that sun energy, to align with that sun energy than we are to align with the moon energy because we are in the West. We live a Western society. It's a patriarchal society. So I think a lot of that has to do with where you are. A lot of it has to do with your own mind, right? Let me see. What else we got? I gotta scroll back a little ways. I'm trying not to skip y'all too much. Okay, so Pisces. So when we talk about Pisces, Pisces pretty much, see, people will say they fair, like they don't know which way they want to go. And that's because they're at the end of the sign. I mean, they're at the end of the zodiac. So it's like they're at the end. So we're talking about everything else that it encompasses before it, right? So the Pisces rules the 12th house. It rules over your institutions. It rules over your hospitals. So we talk about mental illness. We talk about delusion a lot. When we get to talk about Pisces, people feel like they be in their own world, imagination. But it's because what you have to understand about Pisces rules over spirituality. Now, I talked about spirituality a while ago, but not in the traditional sense, the way we're used to talking about spirituality. I'm not talking about it in a dogmatic form. I'm talking about your natural makeup in what you do that makes up who you are, that's programmed into you. So, like, if every day, right, I always find myself taking a walk through the park. That could be a part of my spirituality. Or if every time what's something, I'm trying to think of something that's like so non-traditional, or eccentric, so it's not like something regular. Like if you meditate to Kodak Black. You feel me? That could be your spirituality. What I'm saying is, what makes you at peace? What puts you at peace, right? Whatever are the things that you have to do consistently to keep you on the up and up, the things that you do religiously is your spirituality. So when it comes to Pisces, and when I say spirituality, and I talk about delusion, so that's why when it comes to spirituality, sometimes it takes delusion to be spiritual. Let me explain what I'm trying to say. So that's why my name is Cosmic Paradox, because things can feel like it makes no sense until you really dig into it and you realize just how much sense it actually makes, even if you're talking about two opposing things. And that's the weirdness about Pisces. You know what I'm saying? So we talking about the fish. Pisces can go upstream, can go downstream. So sometimes you get Pisces that get lost in other people. Sometimes you do get Pisces that's like that, and the Pisces get a lot of flack for that, but it's because they naturally know how to blend and how to let go. If you want to know how to let go, Pisces gonna show you how to let go. Pisces is all about letting go because it's about spirituality. In order to get more spiritual, you have to let more things go. That's just how it is. Let me see. We're gonna pretty much about talk about all the signs. Cancer. I think I missed Cancer. So Cancers are like the mothers of the zodiac. They are always responsible. Anytime you're dealing with water, you're dealing with imagination. Okay, so and feeling. So these are your feeling signs. If you notice, all your water signs are cold-blooded animals. Okay, so we talk about the Cancer, the crab. Crabs, right? Never move in a straight line. Do you notice how a crab moves? So cancers don't move like that. They're not direct. They don't move directly. That's not the nature of a cancer. And you look at the cancer, you look at the crab, they soft in the inside, but they have a hard shell. So they're very protective, and that's because they're so sensitive and so vulnerable inside. So you got to think about a mother and what makes a mother a mother. What makes a mother so nurturing? Those are the qualities that highlight a cancer. So of course, that soft nurturing, you want to protect that. You just want to protect that. So it's natural to be protected. Now, people get deceived because they think cancers are crybabies, and it's because they water signs. But you have to understand there's a storm that's brewing underneath that damn water. So you mess with them and all hell can break loose. So don't play with no cancer just because you think they're a crybaby, because they really will get into your ass as a cancer, because they naturally gonna protect themselves. It's just the nature of a cancer. So they rule the home, they rule the roots, they rule the upbringing, they rule the ancestors. So they rule your lineage, they rule your roots when it comes to cancer. So when you dealing with fourth house, if you notice the fourth house on the chart, it's the lowest house, because we're talking about your roots, right? We're talking about your roots. Now, the thing that I learned very importantly about Cancer, how directly related it is to that 10th house, because the fourth house is the lowest, but that 10th house is the direct opposite. So what happens to you in your roots in your home is what's going to affect you out and how you respond out in public, because they exact opposite. So it's your lowest house, and your midhaven is your highest house, is your highest point. So this is you at your highest, usually how you can be seen as an authority in society, because authority, the 10th house is ruled by your by your sign of authority. It's ruled by your Capricorn. Okay, so that's why your Capricorn is the authority of the zodiac. The Capricorn can climb up the ladder easily. They can easily acquire positions of authority. Capricorns are about their business. That's why they the GOAT. We don't call people the GOAT for no reason. When we say somebody the GOAT, they the greatest of all time. Why do we say GOAT? Let's think about that again. Let's go back to GOAT. Let's go back to GOAT. Why do we say the GOAT? And then we're talking about Capricorn. And see, so we're looking at understand they put Christmas in the season of Capricorn, because they put it right after the winter solstice, because that's when you have the sun rising back up to its height, going back up to its highest point. Because during the winter solstice, the sun sits at its lowest point for 3 days. And after them 3 days, that sun starts to rise back up. Then when you get to the spring equinox, which is when we celebrate Easter, right? That's when the sun is now coming back into its point, where the days are gradually more and more becoming longer. We are leaving out of the winter season. We are leaving out of the cold season. So we are coming into the spring, into the new year. That's why Easter is always a different time, because it's always correlating with your spring, with the spring equinox. So it's all astrology. It's literally all astrology. Most of your Judeo-Christian religions is based off astrology. Okay, so Christianity is based off sun worship. Islam is based off moon worship. Judaism is based off of Saturn. That's honestly why so many people, that's the misconception about Jewish people and Judaism having to do with money, having to do with material possession, because it got to do with Saturn. Because Saturn got to do with Capricorn. Capricorn rule over the earth. Capricorn is the get money sign. Now, don't get me wrong, all your earth signs are your get money signs. Every last one of your earth signs can get money. Don't get me wrong, but the Capricorn is the GOAT. The Capricorn going to be the manager. The Capricorn going to be, like I said, the authority, because it rules over the highest house. It rules over the 10th house. So who rules over the earth? Who they tell you rule over the earth? The devil. What they make the devil look like? A goat. Because they playing games with your subconscious, because they just mocking you with your own symbols and your own science, because they don't want you to know what you are. They don't want you to know what you are, yo. Watch Cabin in the Woods. Watch Cabin in the Woods. I did a whole breakdown on it. I'm going to share it to my story. Watch Cabin in the Woods, because that's what it's all about. They basically tell you that they perform the ritual so that they can keep the ancient ones suppressed so that they don't rise back up. And if they don't be able to complete this ritual, then they're going to rise back up. They be telling us what's going on. They quite frankly, they are telling us. Because it's nothing new. This is the same myth that's been told. See? Numerology in accordance to the zodiac sign. So, yes, numerology does go in accordance with the zodiac when you're looking at 1 through 12. So, there's meanings from 1 through 12. So, that's just looking at the houses also. So, 12 is not a coincidence. We got 12 houses. We got 12 zodiac. Just like another story that you may not have made the correlation is King Arthur's court. There's 12 Knights of the Round Table plus King Arthur, which makes 13. So when we look at that 12, it's a deep science to it. So some things that are based off 12, they're based off 12 for a reason. There's a reason you have 12 months. It correlates with your science. It's to keep you cast in the spell so you can stay asleep. See, you have to stay asleep. The true you got to stay asleep. That's the whole point. That's this whole Osirian mystery, the waking up of the Osiris, the finding of the missing piece. You Osiris, your soul Osiris. It's about waking up your soul. All these things just correlate. You know what I'm saying? All these things go together. Where you go from 1 to 12. That's why when I talk about numerology, we go from 1 and we go through 9. We discuss the 0. We talk about 10, we leave 10 as a life path, 11 as a master number, and we talk about 12. There's coordinations around 12 also. Because why? 12 is a number of completion also. That's why you got 12 months. That's why there's 12 zodiac. That's why there's 12 houses. So, that number 12, and it's 12 in a lot of places, in a lot of senses, we see a lot of kind of connection of the number 12. So, these things are, this how they're supposed to be. Well, I won't say this how they're supposed to be, but they're not just making these things up. They are basing it on that science. So when you learn the ancient science, you're not afraid of this stuff. You're not afraid of what they're showing, because honestly, you laugh because you realize they're just trying to convince you to believe this about this so that you don't know what you really are. All right, so I'm gonna do some more real quick. Okay, so Libra. So Libras. All right, so Libras, the thing about Libras, y'all can have a really, really dark side. And the reason why is because y'all cannot like confrontation, even when that's dealing with confrontation with yourself. So when y'all don't like even feeling negative things. If you feel something negative, you feel totally bad, ashamed, or guilty just for feeling something bad. Because it goes against your ideals of what is the real perfectionist of the zodiac is them damn Libras. Because y'all want things to be perfectly balanced, and that's not always the case. It don't always work like that. So when it comes to relationships, y'all have to be careful, because it's so easy for y'all to talk about y'all thoughts or whatever. But when it comes to feeling, y'all can let that get away from you and find yourself. If you had a bad experience with a Libra, let me see, like a bad side of a Libra is like, if we talking about relationships, it would be on boomerang. Marcus. That's primary bad Libra activities. Saying whatever you want to say to get that person, and then not really wanting that person the way you think you want that person. And then when you actually do feel something for somebody, it hits you and it's like a surprise, and you don't know, like, damn, I didn't realize I really cared like this, and you just deep in it. That's how these Libras be. Like Marcus is primary Libra shadow energy. Everything that he was doing for all them women, to get all them women, the way he could talk to them women, charm them, say exactly what they wanted to hear, knowing exactly what they wanted to hear, because y'all are charmers. Libras are the charmers, because they naturally have a way with words. They naturally have a way of knowing what somebody else wants, what somebody else like. But y'all can do things just like any other sign, but having a partner to believe in something with you is what gets y'all over the hump. Cooperation and a partner is what makes up a Libra, because they have to see themselves through them partners. I did Virgo already. I did do Virgo already. Let me see. What else on here? Libra. I mean, not Libra. My bad. Okay, so Gemini. All right, so here's my thing about Geminis, right? Y'all two people. Y'all know y'all two people. But understand who the two people are, right? Y'all, it's a divine you and it's like an earthly you. So neither, it's like, I don't know if y'all know the story of the twins. Damn, what's the twins' name in Greek myth? I can't think of their names. But it was some twins. Zeus had some twin sons. They was warriors. One was immortal and one was divine and one was mortal. But one of them died. They were great warriors, and one of them died. And they just plead to Zeus. Please help, please help. So what Zeus decided to do was they would alternate. Okay, so one would always have to be up in the heavenly realm in Olympus with the gods, and one would always have to be on earth. So they will alternate out, but you can never get both of them in the same place at the same time. So Gemini struggle between the real world, or between earth and dealing with earthly shit, paying bills and all that, and then there's the divine self where y'all are like joyful, playful, like in that good enthusiastic place. So y'all dealing with being the two people, but it's really more of a representation of your two brains. It's really a representation of your two selves, your higher and lower, because all y'all lessons are in the two selves. So sometimes y'all can be split between this way or that way. It's all about choices for Geminis. When it comes to Gemini, your choices are like them shits is life and death. Now, I mean, yes, most of the time they life and death, but I'm telling you, for Gemini specifically, them shits is life or death for y'all. Because y'all always dealing with the either or this side or that side. So y'all can constantly kind of struggle with it. So when you get in your shadow for your earthly self, it's like that paranoia. It's like somebody wants something from me. It's like just all the earthly things just holding you down. Okay. Now, and when we're talking about, it's a thinking sign because it's an air sign. So when it comes to talking about your emotions, if it's not a lot of water in that chart, they ain't talking about them damn feelings. Okay. They can skedaddle, want to get out of here. You trying to possess them. You trying to demand too much from them. And it's not always the case. It's not always the case. But if you got a lot of Gemini, they scattered. You know what I'm saying? Can do this, can do that, can be here, can be there. Everything is about intelligence for them. So they don't have no problem with changing when they get new information. See, that's why people call them two-faced or people say they ain't loyal, but it ain't their fault because when they get new information, they're gonna go according to that new information. That's just how they operate. You can't be mad at them for that. That's just how they do. Oh, Taurus. Oh, wait. Before I do Taurus, I'm gonna do Aquarius. I got asked about Aquarius a couple times. So Aquarius, I'm gonna do Aquarius. So Aquarius, they say that Aquarius is ruled by, what is it, Uranus? But if you look in tradition, they'll tell you that it's Capricorn. I mean, not Capricorn. I'm sorry, Saturn. So with Aquarius, y'all deal with extremes. It's like it's hard for y'all to get in the middle. It's really, really hard for y'all to get in the middle. It's like either the absolute worst or it's the absolute best. And y'all fixed, so y'all stubborn. It's hard to change. So what y'all know, and y'all always know, y'all know every damn thing. Listen, I know Virgos is bad, but Aquarius is bad too, because y'all know everything. You say something to Aquarius, I know. It's their favorite thing to fucking say. I know. But I call the Aquarius the gods of the Zodiac. And but they out of place. And I say that Aquarius is opposite Leo. We know Leo is supposed to be the king of the zodiac because it's ruled by the sun, right? So the Aquarius is the opposite of Leo. The Aquarius has a lot of the same qualities of the Leo, but they just don't need a crowd. They just don't need followers. They prefer to really do it aloof. But what you got to know about Aquarius is deep down they really fear rejection, though. Deep down they really fear not being accepted. That's why they'll put their uniqueness and aloofness out in front because they want to do that first. It's a natural subconscious thing. They want to do that first before they are rejected for who or what they are. You know what I mean? Just another sign that don't like talking about no feelings. They will detach from feelings. I know too well. I have an Aquarius moon. Even when I don't mean to, I can detach from my feelings. So they very, very much can detach. So you can learn how to detach from an Aquarius. So what they do is they go mental. They go logical. They find the means to go above everything. See, your air signs are seen as the most civilized signs. Look at their signs. None of them have an animal in their signs. Look at the Libra scales. The Aquarius is the water bearer, right? And the Gemini is the twins. There's no animal in there, but you look at the fire signs, the Leo, the lion, you see the Taurus, the bull. You look at the other signs, they have that animal in them, but you look at those signs, so that's what can give you the insight on the psyche of an air sign in general. So they focus more on logic. They focus more on reason. They can look down on feeling, emotion, intuition, people being opinionated through their feelings. That's kind of natural earth. I mean, that's a natural air and water clash. That's why on the surface, your air and your water signs clash so much because one perceives their reality through feeling, right? And the other perceives their reality through logic and through reason. So you got here, they are worlds apart. So but they're magnetically drawn to each other because they have to learn from each other. Because beneath the air signs is a whole lot of emotions that they just don't want to deal with, right? So that's really usually the thing. So when we talk about Aquarius, so I say they're gods because they rule another universe. They rule, like, they do know, like, the thing about the Aquarius, the way that way they naturally can analyze and understand human nature it's a gift the way they can understand human nature. That's why they know what's best for humanity. They love humanity. They don't really like people though. They don't really like people, but they love humanity. But it's because they have the ability to be able to see, they like scientists. So your Aquarius, they are real, they some nerds, so to speak. Your Aquarius some nerds. Yeah, I got an Aquarius moon, man. I got an Aquarius moon, so it be getting me. It be getting me sometimes. But I've learned to master it though. Now see, I'm gonna give y'all some game in how I was able to take it and understand my life and my chart. So my moon sign is in Aquarius. My moon, my natal moon, which is when I was born, what my chart looks like when I was born, is in the 12th house. Okay, so the 12th house rules over institution, alcohol, like I say, mental health, karma, it's hidden enemies, all those things in 12th house. So when I was born, my mom is in Aquarius too. So when I was born, I had a traumatic birth. So when I was born, I literally detached from my mom's womb. I forgot what they call it when it actually happens, but the sac, I separated from it. So they had to do like an emergency surgery and everything. And I always found it to be very coincidental to say that the womb itself detached. And I have an Aquarius moon. You feel me? So it's like I detached. And on top of it, like, so 12th house, when you see things in your 12th house, it can insinuate alcoholism or drinking, stuff like that. So my mom used to drink. And not to say like she was a bad drinker or anything, but her drinking heavily impacted the way that I viewed drinking, the way that I saw alcohol. So like there was instances of certain things that happened in my life in my youth that was centered around my mom when she had, been drinking. So I said all of that to say that when you understand these energies and you can look at your life, you can see how the energy, right, is really present in your life. You can really see how these things manifested in play, because it's not gonna manifest one way. You feel me? Like everybody who has a moon in the third house, that don't manifest the same way in their life. It manifests different ways. So when you understand it that's why I always tell people to understand it for yourself, and why I really don't like to offer birth chart readings or astrology readings, because the way that I know it, the way that I do it, it's best for you to know it for yourself. Now I ain't gonna say I wouldn't do it, but that's why I'm that way. That's why I'm like that about it. Aquarius are dreamers. They are dreamers. They can see long term. They can come up with something that they can build something, or they can have the vision of something that could, be good for 20 years. Some type of organization or something, something like that. They also rules over friends. Aquarius also rules over friends. They like represent friends. So when we looking at the 11th house, that can give you insight about friends. All right, let's talk about Leo. So now let's talk about Leo. So these are the kings, right? Because they rule by the sun. So we know the sun is the ruler of the zodiac. So in that sense, they had the king syndrome. They think everything revolves around them. Everything revolves around them. See, they can forget that other people got other lives and they got other stuff they got to do sometimes, and it just don't always involve them. Now, these are the actual kids. They the real children of the zodiac because they rule by the sun. So they literally the sun of the zodiac. So they think everything is supposed to go their way. You feel me? So, but not in a bad sense. They do make great leaders. They do make great delegators. They naturally it can inspire. Like the thing about your fire signs is possibilities. It's all about possibilities for them. But they live in their own world. So when somebody come putting too much reality into their fantasy, they don't like that. That puts their fire out. You know what I'm saying? When somebody come and they got too much emotion involved, they don't like that. That puts their fire out. So when it comes to fire, they live in a fantasy. And you always have to remember that. So when you say things realistic to a fire sign, you gonna piss them off. You're not meaning to, because you're trying to be helpful. If you are earth sign, you trying to be helpful because you know how things materialize. You know how to build some shit. So you sitting there listening like, how the hell you gonna do this, bro? Like, you do know you need such and such and such and such, but you just gotta let them dream. You just gotta let them be in that space. Now, I'm not saying to leave them there and they just be living in fantasy and not never doing nothing accustomed or in a timely manner. You don't want to do that. But if they in a space and they venting and they just doing it, they don't take away their possibility. Don't take away their opportunities or their endless possibilities, because in their mind, anything can happen, literally. And that's how they work, though. That's how they contribute to the world. That's how they create in the world. They create from their fire, so they're not gonna create the way that you create. So somebody with a lot of earth, we do have to be practical, but that fire energy may not have to be that way. Not completely. You see what I'm saying? So when it comes to it, looking at the fire energy, that's what we getting out of that fire energy. That's what we getting out of that fire sign. That's what we getting out of Leos. So when they say Leos like to be the entertainers or they like to be center stage, it's because they're saying that the sun revolves around, everything revolves around the sun. So when it comes to Leos, y'all give life to people. So it's important for y'all to compliment people because y'all give people confidence. So it's like the sun shines light on things. It gives life to help it grow. So Leos do the same thing. So when y'all talk to people, if y'all do not compliment them, if y'all do not give them confidence, it's almost like you taking from them. Because remember, if we was playing roles, the Leo's gonna be the king. So just think about the role of the king in essence. Now, I'm not saying importance and being superior. Just think about the role of the king into his kingdom and what he provides to his constituents. That's what Leos provide to the world. So that's what I mean when I say that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean when I say that about the Leo. So now let's see Taurus. Now your Taurus is your bulls, right? So they're gonna be bullheaded about anything that they value, anything that they find of value. Now, they get a bad rep for being materialistic, but we're going to clear that up. It's not that they are materialistic, right? It's that they are all about their values. And what people don't get about Taurus is their spiritual values. Sometimes they gonna butt heads with your ass off of principle alone because you're playing with their spiritual values. Don't complain with their values because the Taurus can get possessive about their things because this represents who they are in the world. Remember, they are ruled by Venus, okay? Just like Libra ruled by Venus. So when we get to talking about beauty and nice things and luxury, we think about Taurus, especially more than we think about Libra. If you look at Taurus, if you look at Taura, that is in restaurant. That's why they call them foodies. Why too? Because Taurus got to do with its senses. It got to do with everything in your senses. So of course you're gonna be a foodie when you have heightened senses because food tastes that much better to you. You see what I'm saying? You appreciate food that much better. So that's what it means when we're talking about Taurus. So Taurus is gonna show you. They also will show you how to get what you want. They're very sensual. They're some of the most affectionate lovers. If you got a moon in Taurus, these are very sensual people. Very, very sensual. Now, the bad thing about Taurus, really the bad thing about all earth signs is we'll get transactional. I'm gonna just tell you some real shit. Virgos can do it too. So when it comes to a Taurus will trade their values. If somebody has something of value that they see more value in, they'll trade. So so that's why I don't know if y'all heard people say you'll find a lot of people with a Taurus moon up in a strip club, and that's because that highlights that very same principle that I just said. So if you like my body, my sensuality, I'm gonna trade you. You give me money for it. That's some shit with the Taurus, but it's the Earth element because see, Earth. Whenever you mess with our stability, we don't play when you come playing with our stability. When we can't feel our ground beneath our feet. So if our foundation is threatened, we're gonna do what we gotta do. The Virgo will turn into the hustler. So the Virgo, and we see this more in Virgo men, more so than women, but don't get me wrong, it can be in the women too. But a woman can pretty much do the same thing, and that's sell away something when it's not of use. They include romance, it includes relationships, so they can just get rid of some shit when it comes time that they need to do more and get something else, that they gotta hustle. You see what I'm saying? So they can turn into that hustle in a bad way when we're talking about Virgo. And so when we talk about Taurus, they can be transactional, trading away they damn values. So that's something we gotta, we gotta know. But as a Virgo, I get along the best with Taurus people. Now we just, I don't know, we just vibe. We just vibe because we just totally understand each other. Yeah, we earth signs, so that's kind of the thing. What else we gonna talk about? What sign haven't I done? I think I pretty much done all the signs. Let me see. Scorpio, I haven't done Scorpio. I love Scorpios. Y'all get a bad rip, man. They always want to make y'all seem like y'all bad. But that's not the case, man. Scorpios, y'all specialize in secrets. And that's not good for y'all because y'all end up having to hold on to other people's damn secrets. And it's because y'all often get exposed to people's dark sides. It's just something about your energy that just reveals darkness to you. So when I say secrets, things that people be trying to keep hidden, Scorpios always seem to find that shit. So when somebody think they hide something, you're not hiding shit from a Scorpio. Even the things you hide from yourself, the Scorpio know. So that's why Scorpios are so scary, because they know shit about you that you don't even know about yourself. They understand shit about you that you don't even know about yourself. So that's why Scorpios can sometimes be to themselves, because they already know everybody got some shit with them. They always know the dark side of things. They can always sense what's being hidden. That's that Scorpio energy. So you can't hide nothing from them. And that's scary because everybody's trying to hide something. But if you wouldn't hide shit, you ain't got to worry about it when it comes to a Scorpio. You see what I'm saying? You ain't had to worry about it. I'm going to tell you, easy way to understand a Scorpio personality. If you corner a scorpion by itself, if it's threatened, it'll sting itself to death. It'll rather kill itself before it let you kill it. And a Scorpio the same way, they'll burn the motherfucker down before they let you take them out by themselves. That's just the Scorpio energy. It'll turn completely and totally, utterly dark. But it's with reason, though. It's with reason. But we don't always, recognize that. And I feel like Scorpio and Virgo are the most misunderstood signs. Maybe it's because I'm a Virgo. I'm a Virgo for anybody asking what's my sign. So you got Saturn in Scorpio. Okay. So you got lessons around secrets, but it could also be the occult. It could be hidden. It could have a lot to do with where your Saturn is. You see what I'm saying? It can have a lot to do with that, where your Saturn is. See, I have what do I have? I think I have Pluto in Scorpio, but I have Saturn in Sagittarius, but it's in my ninth house, and my ninth house is ruled by Scorpio. So that's why I'm into a lot of occult, and that's why I'm into it in the public. That's why I'm into it in the public, and why I do be dealing with religion and all of that in the public, because it's pretty much right there in my chart, you know. Uh, but yeah, that's the thing about them Scorpios, man. So yeah, so they know, and that's a water sign. So waters are always instinctual, always psychic kind of, so to speak. So like I said, Scorpios know things about people that people don't know about themselves. So anybody that do got a lot of secrets, into keeping secrets, or don't want to reveal something about themselves, you're not gonna get along with a Scorpio, and that Scorpio not gonna vibe with you because they're gonna pick up on it. Now, mind you, like I said, it's not all about your sun sign. We are more than our sun sign. We got our sun, moon, Venus, your all the way up to your Mars. Those are your personal planets. So you can enact or enforce more of your will, direct will, through those personal planets. And when you get to those other ones, it's more generational. So naturally, at this particular point in time, our age group is dealing with specific things. You know, a lot of us have Pluto and Scorpio, so we dealing with a lot of transformative things pertaining to sex, a lot of things being redefined about sex, about sexual identity. All that's not really a coincidence. Yes, also the Scorpio is also the eagle and the phoenix. And that's because they are transformation. It's all about transformation and rebirth, recycle, death. That's why it's connected to death. It's connected to the death card. But anybody that does tarot, the death card is only symbolic to the end of a cycle. So that means something is starting again. So in order for something new to begin, it has to end. It's just a cycle, the circle of life. So in that sense, Scorpio encompasses that, embodies that. So Scorpios are able to regenerate. So I'm gonna give you an example. Look at Diddy. Diddy's a Scorpio, right? The man can reinvent himself every damn 10 years. We ain't gonna talk about all the other stuff affiliated with Diddy. We ain't gonna talk about that. But that's just an example of that energy, being able to regenerate, being able to transform, being able to, become something else. I think I did all the signs now. I think I did them all, yo. I think I did. It's a lot. I'm gonna save this live. If it doesn't stay up here on the Instagram, it will be on the YouTube. So if you check the YouTube, I always put the lives on there. I always put the lives on there. So that's where you can always go back and get the lives. But we did kind of touch on a lot here. I wasn't expecting to kind of get all into these zodiac signs, but and speaking of which, if you are in the astrology course, right? So we are all the way up to the, let's see how far we are in astrology. All right, so we had to extend the fundamental section, right? Because the zodiac breakdowns were so long, I had to split it up into two parts. So part two should be up by tomorrow, but part one is already there. And then you should have the planets up there by Monday. So that'll have that next section all together for you for everybody that's in the astrology course. If you want to get in it, you can just join the membership site and you'll have access to it. It's like $33. It's the astrology course and the shadow work course. So once those are done, it's gonna be more courses coming. I just had to redo all the content for the courses, so that's why everything is kind of lagging. I had to redo the courses, y'all. I lost so much of my content from the program or the software that I was using. So that's been a hassle just trying to get all of that just squared away, having to redo it all. But no worries, no worries. It's only getting me more deeply embedded in the knowledge. So I'm going back through, still learning even more still. So I'm not complaining at all. And I know that the information is so much. I know that y'all are gonna, get a lot from it because there's so much in it. And I don't even have all of the content isn't there. So if you have gone through what's available, that's not the end of the course. So it's a lot more that's coming with actual actionable, practical. Right now, all of this is just like the information that you got to know and understand about the energy itself so you can do the work. So we're going to start doing the actual work. More of that is coming. Okay, so y'all be on the lookout of that, but you can just join, become a member. Once you become a member, you'll have access to everything. I felt like that was the best means to go about it. Now, if you already bought the course, like if you purchased the course, you don't have to worry about your membership. You're going to be good up in here for the membership for the long haul. As I occasionally add more of the content, you'll see it being added to your library. So you don't have to worry about that. All right. So in a sense, I'm gonna go ahead on and wrap it up. It's getting late. I gotta make sure these kids get into bed because they will stay up as long as I let them. And y'all, I don't know if y'all noticed, but ain't even been in the live, y'all. He is knocked out. 2K came out last night, and I don't think he slept, so he getting him some rest. But I went over all of the zodiac. I gave a little overview. I would say it's a little overview. It's so much we could get into because they're just archetypes. If you study Carl Jung in psychology, he has 12 archetypes. The sage, it's just 12 different, and it's pretty much kind of like the same thing. It's similar. It's a system, a means of describing. Because when you talk about archetypes translate all across the universe. So no matter what you're doing, dealing with, it applies. It applies. So, he having some trouble with the 2K. I don't know, something going on with the servers. But he spent a lot of time on it. He spent a lot of time on it. It felt like, he looked like a kid at Christmas. Oh, you are welcome. You're welcome. I'm gonna put the live up. It'll be up for a little while and then I'll put it on the YouTube. I doubt I'll keep it here because it's so long and it's so much information. And these impersonators are so bad, stealing content and pretending to be me. So it probably won't stay long. So I would say to subscribe to the YouTube, because I'm always gonna put everything on the YouTube, so you can get it off the YouTube. The Fool's card, Zero, the Joker. Oh, well, when you're looking at the Fool card, right? The Fool card is like, it's the zero. So when I say zero, right? No, all the cards correlate to a number. So it's zero. So meaning zero is like, it can be the start of something or it can be the start of nothing. So when I say the Fool, or when you say, like, when I say that, is fools are naive. If you look, and it depends a lot on the card. Damn. Hold on. When you're looking at cards, right? It's all about the symbols. It's all about what you see in the card. That's what you're really saying to yourself. Is what you see in the card. So when you look at, I got quite a few decks. So let's look at the regular weight deck. And so tarot is also connected to Zodiac. Like we say, it's connected to the numbers as well. Hold on, y'all. Give me a second. I'm trying to go through these cards real quick. I got a lot of stuff, a lot of places, y'all. So give me a second. But I'm coming. I'm gonna answer your question. I like that question, so I'm gonna answer it for you. Let me see. All right. All right. So here's the Fool. All right. So you see, right? So it's like he going off. He's starting a journey, because obviously he got this little right here. So he going somewhere. He ain't looking where he going. He on the edge, and he about to step off. Right? So he can step off. So it's like, could be naive, not realizing what's going on, or like taking a chance, right? Stepping off into, y'all, I hit my nose on the door. My baby hit my nose on the door earlier. But this is Uranus. So this is connected to Uranus. So everything affiliated with the Uranus energy is what you get with the Fool. Now, mind you, remember, everything has upsides and it has downsides to it. So when we look at the planets, when we look at the zodiac, that's just like what we was talking about, discussing the signs, and we talk about the shadow side of it. So everything has a shadow side, just like it has an upside to it. Okay, so depending on what's going on, because you do have to look at the other cards. But a lot of times this is moving into the next phase. So how are you moving into this next phase? Are you going into a naive, or are you prepared? So it's, a lot of it has to do with it. Absolutely. The zero is the end and the beginning. Yeah, the hero's journey. Man, let me tell you, I've been digging into that. I've been exploring. I love stories so much. I love myth so much. I love the way that we can relay complex ideas through storytelling. And that's something that I really, really, really want to do. So I've been reading a lot of Joseph Campbell. I've been doing a lot of study on the hero's journey. So yeah, it was nice for you to mention it. The hero's journey. I've been studying some Joseph Campbell. I even started watching. I watched a little bit of Star Wars. I just can't really get into Star Wars, man. It's just not my thing. It's just not my thing. It's just not my thing. But I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it on up. Oh yeah, so that was for your birthday. If you got that card for your birthday, you embarking on new beginnings. Especially with it being your birthday, that's probably like an omen to you. You embarking on a whole new journey. What you can do, take your birth month and your birth dates, right? And the current year, that's the current year cycle that you are in numerically. Now, depending on that number, they can give you insight into where you are in your cycle because we operate on cycles just like the planets, just like the planet. So, but a lot of these things we're going to talk about, y'all. A lot of these things, a lot of these concepts, these spiritual concepts, because a lot of them are connected to the body. It's just like if we look at the Ankh, right? So if we look at the Ankh, we know that the Ankh is the breath of life, right? We know that the Ankh represents life. We talk about feminine and masculine energy, but within the body is the circle of Willis. And the body is the circle of Willis. I don't know if y'all know what it is, but in the brain you have the brain the blood vessels that provide blood for the brain, and it's literally shaped like an Ankh. It's shaped like an Ankh. When you look into ancient Egypt and you see how they have the hay root and the eye, and you correlate it to the pineal, the thyroid gland, the pineal and the hypothyroid gland, when you can correlate those things to in your body, you're gonna level up. Because they was talking about you. It's not just mystical. Like some of it literally correlates to your actual within your own body. So it's like, how did they know these things in this time? It really makes you question what they tell you about antiquity. Mister is about Earth, about Sinbad. I don't know. I haven't heard those. But I'm convinced there's occult libraries that has so many myths and ancient stories that we don't know about. I'm convinced of that. But yeah, it's getting late. I'm about to wrap it up. But it was good, catching up with y'all for a minute. It was good catching up with y'all for a minute. I appreciate y'all stopping in on the live. Yes, I'm a real person, so if y'all get those little inboxes DM, it's not me. I'm not DMing nobody. I'm not DMing nobody for nothing, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm too busy to be doing it. I have no problem with doing a session with you, but I'm not doing it by that means. Indigo children. What about indigo children? There are some indigo children, yes. Yes, there are. Yes. All right. So I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all. If anybody got any questions about the course or anything y'all need to know, just hit me up. You have any issues with the website, refresh it or clear your cookies. But if you need to, just hit me up and we can get everything all situated. But in the meantime, until next time, I'm gonna holler at y'all. So y'all be good and stay dangerous. And if y'all need a reminder why I say stay dangerous, it's because when we woke, when we aware and we know who we are dangerous to this system. So stay dangerous. Peace. The YouTube channel is Cosmic Paradox. If you click the link, it's there as well. You can scroll down and I have all my socials at the bottom. You can just tap on the YouTube and you good. But it has the same photo and everything, so you should know me when you see me. So yeah, Cosmic Paradox. Peace, y'all. I'm out.